Hello and welcome to another Xterra video where I work on my truck. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. And on today's video I'm gonna be upgrading my brakes. I'm gonna be replacing my brake pads and my rotors. That's something that I really needed to do. I never changed my brakes since I got my truck, nor the rotors. I did replace my calipers, but when I was replacing them, the brakes were still somewhat okay. But now let's upgrade it and let's change it all. And this is the rotors and the brake pads I went with by PowerStop Extreme. It's for trucks and heavy duty trucks, but since we are pretty heavy, we have a lot of metal and stuff, so I figured this is gonna be pretty good. And they're drilled and slotted, which is not really necessary for us at all. It's more of for the looks, I think, now, but it is what it is. So now I'm gonna start working on lifting up the truck and taking out the tires. Alright, so let's remove the lug nuts and the tire. Now let's remove two bolts, 19 bolts holding the caliper over here. Now I always like to use the bucket just to lay the caliper on it. So let's slide this out and let's just put it right here. Let's take the old one out. As you can see, it's all rusted, and yeah, I think it's not too bad, but it's better to replace it. Let's get the new one from the bag. And as you can see, they all have labels on them, so that's pretty neat. There we go. Now let's work on the brake pads. Let's remove the old brake pads, which, as you can see, they're still not too bad. There still was some meat on them, but yeah, I think it's better to replace them. Alright, and the new hardware is in place. Now I'm gonna apply the lubrication that it came with, and it's always good to check if these slide pins are seized or not. In my case, luckily they're still good, so that's good. So now I'm just gonna apply that over there, and that's ready to be mounted. So let's get our new brake pads just to compare. They definitely look bigger. It's a definitely should be big improvement. So let's put the new brake pads in. All right, let's put these pins inside. All right, and now let's just assemble this all back together. Okay, let's position this in place and screw these two 14mm bolts, and let's torque these bolts to spec. All right, and the front brake is done. So now I'm gonna put the tire back and move to the rear tire. Now in my case, I also have to remove the wheel spacer in the back, but in your case you're probably just gonna have to remove this with a 19mm socket. Now let's remove these two bolts over here. And let's pull this out as well. Alright. Matter of fact, these rear brakes, the rear brake pads, they still look good, but I'm gonna replace them anyways. And now let's carefully pull this out. There we go. Wow. Now this is something unexpected, or maybe I should have expected this. I need to work on my parking brakes. Wow. I need to get all this new, but this will have to be for the next project. And this has to come out as well. Now before putting the spacer back on, I need to reapply thread locker on these studs, and then after 50 miles it's recommended to re-torque it again. That should be enough. Just make sure you go through all of them, make sure they all torqued. And a new hardware is in place over here as well. So now let's work our way putting the brake pads inside. Sometimes they go easy, sometimes they don't go easy. for some reason, for me at least. Alright, now to compress this, I don't have a fancy tool, which I should probably get one, but what I do, I just use big channel locks and carefully, that's a keyword, carefully, just compress it, and it works just as fine. I've been using this multiple times already, and as you can see, it works. There we go. Nice and easy. Perfect. Screw these bolts in place, and let's just tighten everything up. And let's torque the bolts in the back to spec. It's 125 pounds. Alright. Now let's just put the tire back in place, and this side is done. Alright guys, and both sides are done and installed. Now I have a new brake pads and new rotors on both sides. It's actually been some time, and when I started editing the video, I noticed the last file, the ending is not there. I don't know what happened, but the whole procedure was done anyways. So the only thing you have to pay attention is to the placement of the rotors. Because they have those grooves, they actually go in certain order. The grooves are supposed to be facing backwards, so as the tire spins, it should clear itself from the gases and debris. That's what they say. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward procedure. Just unbolt it and bolt everything back in place. So as always, I'm gonna leave all the links in the description to the parts I used in case you guys want to check it out. So on this note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you might find it helpful. And as always, until next time, everybody, bye.